right. All right, Shabbat Shalom, or welcome. We've got a reasonably small crowd gathered here, but we do have a minyan here at Temple with Abraham tonight. And we're going to begin on page 3. Actually, not 3, page 5. Sing a new song to God. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, zafru magoyim kevodo bechol ha'amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai. Adonai, mishpechot amim, Havul Adonai, kavod vavos, Havul Adonai, Yehod shemo, se'u mincha, uvo lechatzrotav, ayayay, yishtachavu l'Adonai, mirbehat kodesh hilu mitpanav, kol haaretz, himru bagayim, Adonai malach, Avdikon tevel ba'altimot, Yanin amim, v'mesharim, Yibru hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz, Yiram hayam, u'melo, Yalo sadai, v'chol asher bo, ayayna, az yiranenu, kol hatayah, b'nei Adonai kivan, ki ivan yishbot haaretz, yishbotem betzedek ve'amim ve'emunato, ay nay nay nay, ay nay 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 nay, ay nay nay nay, ay nay nay nay, ay nay nay nay, ay nay nay nay. All right, we're going to turn to page 12. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Page 13. Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai benim, Havul Adonai kavod ba'ozai, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, yishtachavu l'Adonai ve'achar kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. זה הלבנון וירכירם כמו עגל לבנון וסיריון כמו בן רעימי איי 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 אדוני חותר לבון אש כל אדוני יחין מדבר יחיל אדוני מקדש כל אדוני יכול אל הידון ויחסו נערות ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד איי 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 אדוני למה הוא ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום היי איי איי ניי 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 Lecha Dodi, page 15. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור זכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. פנאי אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת לעילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה. זאת מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Bottom of 17. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, את אדוני תריצי, אל יריש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. We rise and face the entrance, welcoming the Shabbat bride. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת mourners in our midst, may God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And we may be seated. Page 19, Psalm for Shabbat. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, לזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון והינון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Continue silently, pages 19 and 20. Tzadikata Hamar Yifrach Kerez Balvadon Yizkeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrihu Od Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Berahananim Yehu Lehagin Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo Adonai Malach Geot Lavesh Lavesh Adonai Ositazar Aftikon Tevel Ba'altimo Nachon Kisachal Meaz Mam Ata Nasu Nerot Adonai Nasu Nerot Kolam Yisu Nerot Ohyam Mi Kol Od Mahim Mayim Rabbim Adirim Mishpeream Adir Bamarom Adonai Erotecha Ne'emnu Me'od Levetecha Nama Kodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim. Please rise briefly for the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. We may be seated. Asher bidbaro Mariv Aravim. Yom v'layla, v'layla mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Yom v'layla, mavdil ben yom uvein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 25. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'odecha, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Continue silently. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. מלכותו ורצון כלו להם, משה ובני ישראל חנשבה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם. יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, תורת תהילות, עושה פלא, תורת תהילות, עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך בעולם ועד, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים מפני משה, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך בעולם ועד. יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 ונאמר כברת יעקב מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני קהל ישראל 33 השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים שמור צאתנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם everyone else. Ashkivenu Adonai, Ulechayim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom V'Hamidenu Malkeinu Be'ezenu Sukkot Shlomecha, Baruch Atah Adonai, Aparei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'Kol Yisrael, Ya Yerushalayim. Please rise from Hishamru. Sheshet Yamim, Asa Adonai, Min HaShamayim, Ve'et HaAretz Ve'Shamru B'nei Yisrael, Et HaShabbat, La'asot Et HaShabbat, Le'dotam Berit Olam, Uvayom HaShvi'i, Shabbat Vayinafash, Shabbat Vayinafash, Shabbat Vayinafash, Shamru B'nei Yisrael, Et HaShabbat, La'asot Et HaShabbat, Le'dotam Berit Olam. Remain standing for the Chatzi Kadesh. Yikara v'ikara shemei Rabbah. Yamadi brachirutei v'amlich malchutei. V'chayechonu yomecha. Ufchayedechon beit Yisrael. Ba'agala. Uvizman kariv imeru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach. Le'olam u'le'amei amaya yitba. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'bar v'ram v'naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal shmei kudsha rechu le'lamin kol bechata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imeru. Private Amidah, pages 37 through 48. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Right, page 49. V'yachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam v'yachal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melakto asher asa v'yishbo b'yom hashvi'i mikol melakto asher asa v'yavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yikadesh oto ki vo shavat mikol melakto asher Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'elei avotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim va'aret, Magid Avot Bidbaro, Mechayei Meitim b'mamaro, Ha'el Hakadosh she'ein kamohu, Hameniach le'amo, Yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratzah lehaniach lahem, Kivam ratzah lehaniach lahem, Lefanav navo b'yirav al-fachad, V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, Ve'ein ha'brachot, El ha'od ha'od adon, Shalom, V'kadesh HaShabbat, V'varech Shvi'i, U'miniach B'kedusha, V'yamikdush Ne'oneg, Zecher L'maaseh V'reishit. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Ritzei, V'imnuchatenu, Kodshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'ten chelkenu b'toratecha, tzavenu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, v'taher liveinu le'ovdecha be'emet, v'hanchileinu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava u'v'ratzon, Shabbat Kodshecha, V'yanuchu v'Yisrael, Mekadesh Shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. 53, Kadesh Shalem, Yikra V'yikra Shemei Rabbah, V'yamani Brachir Tevem Lichmachut Tevechaychon, V'yamachancher Chol Beit Yisrael, V'galav Izman Kari V'imeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Me'olam Le'almei Almaya Yitbarach, Yitbarach V'ishtabat, Yitbarach V'Rabbi Naseh, V'tadar V'taleh V'talal Shmei Dekudisha, V'rechu, Le'lam Yinkom B'chata V'shiratat, B'chata V'nechamat Adam Yirom Yama V'imeru. Amen. Kikabat Sodon V'oton L'chol Yisrael Kuram V'voni V'shmai V'imeru. Amen. Ishlam Ram Mitzamai V'chemel V'akol Yisrael V'imeru. Oseh Shalom B'Romav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yishvei Tevel Imeru. Amen. All right, history time. And Joe and Judy, I don't know how many Friday nights you've watched recently, but I do these letters that I found in the files that say something about the history of Temple Beth Abraham, or that I otherwise find interesting. This one is from Pinky Pankovic, Herman Pankovic, the president of the congregation at the time, in September 16th, 1981. He's writing a letter to Mr. and Mrs. Jack Tesler of 216 Wayne Avenue. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Tesler, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to advise you that your niece and nephew, Judy and Joe Epstein, have given you a 1-year membership at Temple Beth Abraham in honor of your anniversary. On behalf of the congregation, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your anniversary and to wish you many years of health and happiness. So it's beautiful for many reasons. One, because Pinky wrote it, and everything he writes is beautiful and brings back wonderful memories. It's wonderful that they were celebrating such an anniversary, but what it mostly teaches us is that Joe and Judy Epstein have been generous for a long, long time. Here they are as the youngsters buying their their aunt and uncle a membership at Temple Beth Abraham. And it's with that same generosity in mind that they have donated a memorial board to our congregation, which we're going to dedicate in just a moment. And I have to just, a brief story. When the pandemic began, and before there was such a thing as the PPP loan, we were afraid that we were not going to be able to pay our staff. And the first people to step up to help us in case were the Epsteins. And so your generosity has just been unbelievable, and you've been a part of every major campaign we've probably ever done here, certainly in my time. The Centennial Project, the next big thing, the restorations of the houses, all those things. So thank you. And what a wonderful way to honor your parents with your generosity, and now with a physical object. So I want you to go ahead and why don't you go to that board right now and just take a look, and the camera's gonna, and then we're gonna ask you to say a few words. Yeah, you can go, probably, you can climb over the railing if you want, but probably go around the, onto the ramp. And what it says, in case you can't read it on your, well, either here or at home, this is in memory of our parents, Sam and Rebecca Epstein, and Gerald and Harriet Rubens, from their loving children and great-grandchildren. Thank you for your dedication, and with that in mind, we dedicate this board, which will be a living memorial to them and lots of other people who get to use the board. Because I stand there, I'm going to try to get my dad moved in real estate to that board. So, we'll see. I might have some influence, but who knows? Okay. You never know. So come on up.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's a short speech.
Feels free.
I'm going to borrow a comment to start off with from Rabbi Bloom's remarks on the February edition of the Omer. And if my pronunciation is incorrect, you can make note of that. But he talks about the joy of living in his neighborhood in the city of Oakland. And the rabbi states that the Hebrew word for neighborhood is shechunah. Did I do all right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a word that is derived from one of the names of God, or Shechina.
Shechina, yeah.
Shechina, okay. And in many ways, and although Judy and I now live in San Francisco, Oakland and Temple Beth Abraham will always be our Shechunah. A neighborhood can mean so much more than a place of geographical boundaries, so much more than a place to buy groceries or shoes for your kids, a favorite restaurant to patronize, or a movie theater to spend an evening. And for me, Oakland is where I grew up. It's where I went to school. It's where I received my religious training. It's where I performed my bar mitzvah, right here. Where I served as the president of my TBA Sunday school, and where I made so many of my lifelong Jewish friends. Temple Beth Abraham is where I learned to be a Jew. And even more than that, it's where I learned to be a proud Jew and to respect the centuries of learning and giving that Jews are known for everywhere. Yes, all of this happened in Oakland, but more importantly, it was here at Temple Beth Abraham. When Rabbi Bloom gave Judy and me the opportunity to add something of such significance and meaning to our shul as this memorial board, we were pleased and excited to have this honor. We just looked at it for the first time, as you saw. Before services began, I came and took a little peek, and it truly came out beautifully. It is a memory of my parents, Sam and Rebecca Epstein, and Judy's parents, Gerald and Harriet Rubens. And for Judy and me, our memories are entwined in this sanctuary where we are right now. We remember with great joy that the bar mitzvah of our son Mark, about 42 years ago, and the bat mitzvah of our daughter Laura, about 40 years ago. The traditions of the Epstein family go back many years. My father was one of the first members of this house of worship, and he worked tirelessly as did many of the congregants, to raise the funds necessary to keep the temple afloat. It was not an easy task during the years of the Great Depression. My father was a hard worker who was honored with Temple Beth Abraham's first Man of the Year award. My mother was an active participant in the Temple Sisterhood and dedicated herself for the betterment of TBA as well. And my sister, although 8 years older than me, attended Sunday school here as well. Finally, a unique memory that has carried with me and stayed with me since I was a child. It's the memory of my grandfather, Louis Berman. He was a man with a powerful and a beautiful voice. He was always trying to compete with our husband. Louis Berman always sat right over here, the left of the Bema, and in one of the lower rows of seats, definitely in earshot of our cantor Halevi, who I remember. Pa, as his family called him, would stand when he wanted to stand and sing at the very top of his beautiful voice when he wanted to sing, usually the version of prayers that he learned growing up in the Ukraine. I guess I was embarrassed about that as a young boy, but in retrospect, it was really a beautiful thing. Well, all of these older memories are recorded on the established memorial boards that grace our sanctuary on both sides. But the new board is now here to continue to record the history of TBA and the congregants who make and represent this history. Judy and I wish to thank Rabbi Bloom for this honor, and to Raina Arnold and the staff of Temple Beth Abraham, thanks for all of your hard work to make this happen. So in conclusion, let me offer a prayer for our fellow Jews and on behalf of all the persons living in the Ukraine. Dear God, please bless the brave citizens of Ukraine who are the victims of this senseless and brutal war. And may a lasting peace be near and pave the way for a brighter future for your country. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach.
Yasher
Thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome.
Beautiful words, and it links you to the very founding of the synagogue. And when I found this letter in those files,
Oh my God.
I was, I knew I was going to get to use it. I'm so happy, so excited.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Absolutely. All right, we are going to continue now with the Kiddush. Please rise.
Page 55.
Page 55. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher ketshanu mitzvotav ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho v'avav ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrayei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki banu v'charta, yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim to life, and if you are near your children or anyone else who might feel comfortable blessing, put our hands on their heads and we say, Simech Elohim kasar rivka rachel v'leah, Simcha Elohim, Kafraim B'chi Menashe, Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha, Yeranai panav elecha v'yihuneka, Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant you peace. Remain standing for the Aleinu, page 57. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, v'teinu l'aleh bereshit, shelo asanu b'kvei haratzot, Velo samanu k'mitzvot ha'adama, Shelo Sachel Keinu Karem, Vegor Aleinu Kevo Avonam, Vanahnu Korim, Uvishachavim, Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Maltei Hamlachim, Akadosh Barehu, Shehu Notei Shamayim, Veyoset Haaretz, Umoshev Yekaro, Vashamayim Mima'al, Ushchinat Uzo, Vegah Miromim, Hu Eloheinu, Eino, Emet Malkeinu, Epezulato, Kakatu, Betorato, Vedatayom, Vehashivota, Levavecha, Ki Adonai, Hu Elohim, Bashamayim Mima'al, V'al ha'aretz mitachat Eino V'eno. Katuv b'Torah techanayim loch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz b'yom hahu. Ushemo echad. We may be seated as we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yortzites we observed during the coming week, thinking especially of the night of Natalie Berg, J. Leon Block, Florence Bretler, Harvey Casson, Audrey Cohen, David Gallant, former Gavai and Holocaust survivor, wonderful man, Helen Goldberg, Sarah Riva Goldberg, Carol Kirsch, Charles Marcus, Ida B. Edelson Riskin, Louis Schwartz, Marlene May Safer, Martin Howard Semendoff, Alan Silver, Abraham Silverman, Debbie Simon, Dora Spellman, Harold Youssef. We are in the 30-day mourning period for Francisco Martinez Sr., John Daniel Rigo, Theodore Finkelstein, Bernard Holston. And this week, for the Shiva, we lost Kurt Kleinman, the father of Jim Kleinman, past member Doris Weiner Gluckman, and just today I buried a woman from whose children were all came in from out of town, named Dora Nankin, and they are also linked to one of the very early founding families of the synagogue. Actually, I pass their uncle every time I walk into the sanctuary. He's up there. He's the third president. He's not the third president of TBA, but third president has a picture. We lost the first 30 years, whatever. So we think of it, anyway, we see him a lot. And he had I don't know what the right word would be, the timing to follow a president who served for 20 years here, Mendel Friedman. And that, Elliot Nankin's his name. He followed Mendel Friedman 20 years, and he left amidst quite a bit of controversy and an argument with the rabbi and all kinds of other stories, which are rather sordid, actually, and will be told during this history discussion at some point, actually. But anyway, no, definitely not. But anyway, he was the one who followed them, and relatives of theirs we met with today. May all their memories be a blessing to us. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing yortzeit, as well as anyone else who wishes to rise from the mourner's Kaddish on page 61. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'eidechol Beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach le'olam l'omei omaya Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpa'ar, Vitramam, Vitnaseh, Vitadar, Vit'aleh, Vitalal, Shmei Kudsha, Barichu, La'ela Min Kol Birchata, V'shirata, Tush Birchata, V'nechemata, Tamiran, V'alma, V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom V'imramav, Huyaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Let's say Amen.
Amen.
I've got a bunch of announcements. Tomorrow, services will be at 9:30. We have a guest speaker, sponsored by the Leo and Helen Wasserman Fund, and that is Reverend Dr. Rodney Smith from the First AME Church. He's relatively new. He started during the pandemic, and a great guy, and so he'll be sharing some thoughts tomorrow. And it's important to attend to support him and our sister church. And in all honesty, the Black community in Oakland, that's one of the ways. You don't just support, I say this all the time, you don't just support by putting a message on your Facebook or a sign. You go when members of our community want to talk. And I don't think there's going to be any social issues even dealt with. He's probably going to be talking about text, but still. Anyway, very excited to hear him. There's also Shabbat Mishpacha and Junior Congregation tomorrow. Sunday morning, we have active shooter training, security training here at 10 a.m. And I know it's something we don't want to have to do, but we should do, so we're offering that at 10 a.m. with security expert Rafi Brenner. There's also Sunday night, Here We Are, the movie Here We Are, Tuvia Film Club Zoom discussion. And this week, I will be gone. Actually, I'll do that one last. I want you to circle Sunday, April 3rd on your calendars and RSVP this week. It's kind of a combination gala and auction, but there won't be that many auction items. And right now, there's not very many people signed up. But it's a Savoring the Spring Dinner and fundraiser in the courtyard, Sunday, April 3rd. Food by Jing is going to be phenomenal. Anytime she cooks, it's phenomenal. So please sign up and come, and it's an important fundraiser. So finally, this week I'll be gone. I'll be back for Shabbat, but I'll be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. Finally, in person, receiving the honorary longevity degree, the doctorate from Hebrew Union College. So I'm going in person, and I'm very excited about that. When we planned it for 2 years ago, there were over 20 Temple with Abraham people coming, and it was going to be. I was going to have quite a crowd there. Even though I don't get to say anything, I walk with like 8 other rabbis in a robe and some sort of hood, I think. But obviously the pandemic stopped that ceremony, and I just did not bother inviting the group this time. I didn't even know it was going to happen. But we have one TBA member, Mike Gelfand, who's in Indianapolis. He's going to drive up, down, across, whatever it is. And my son Micah, going to school in Columbus, will join me in Cincinnati. So that'll be a lot of fun.
He's going to drive down.
He's going to drive down. Exactly. About an hour and a half south, something like that. All right. And I think that's it for now. We're going to conclude again. Well, a few thank yous. Thank you to our board greeter, Jessica Sarver. Thank you to our streamer and all things sound, video, and lots of other things too, Josh Mailman. And thank you to Judy and Joe Epstein for your beautiful contribution and your words tonight. So I know I've been back now for 2 weeks, but I've got my Jerusalem guitar, I've got my Jerusalem tali, and so we're going to close with the singing of Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. It's not in your book, Jerusalem of Gold. And if you know it, do sing along. So Karen, sing along.
The parts I know.
The olive trees that stand in silence upon the hills of time, to hear the voices of the city as bells of evening chime. The shofar sounding from the temple to call the world to prayer. The shepherd pauses in the valley and peace is everywhere. Yerushalayim Shel Zahav V'Shel Nechoshet V'Shel Or Alo Lecho Shirayich Ani Kinor. Yerushalayim Shel Zahav V'Shel Nechoshet V'Shel Or Alo Lecho those who thirsted, the ancient market square, the golden sun that lights the future for people everywhere. How many songs, how many stories the stony hills recall. Around her heart my city carries a lonely ancient wall. Yerushalayim shel zahav shel nechoshet v'shehor alo lecho shirayich ani kinor. Yerushalayim shel zahav shel nechoshet v'shehor alo lecho shirayich ani kinor. The chorus in Hebrew is translated as Jerusalem of gold, of copper, and of light. Behold, I am a harp for all your songs. Far away beyond the desert, 1,000 suns will glow. We shall be going to the Jordan by way of Jericho. My simple voice cannot acclaim thee, too weak the words I choose. Jerusalem, if I forget thee, may my right hand its cunning lose. Yerushalayim shel zahav v'shel nechoshet v'shehor alo lecho shirayich ani kinor. Yerushalayim shel zahav v'shel nechoshet v'shehor alo lecho shirayich ani kinor. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Yay.